Subi, bro. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today's video, I want to go over why I believe, me personally, you guys let me know what you guys think. My radar is freaking out right now. Let me know what you guys think. But today's video, we are going to go over why I truly believe that a Subaru is your most practical daily driver. Now, I'll get into this of why I think this and why I believe this, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts, because I know Subarus have a lot of issues, but me personally, I haven't had many. So let's hop right into it. All right, guys, so we are currently in my 2009 Subaru Impreza. It is not a WRX, it is not an STI, so I will not comment on the turbo engines, but I do think they are pretty decent, especially the older ones. The newer ones, they got some issues themselves, but I mean, they all have issues, right? Every car is going to have issues. It just depends on what kind of issues you want. So to get this video started right now, I'm just going to say gas mileage as the first one. I get pretty good fuel economy in this car if I don't beat the shit out of it like I do everything I own. So with that being said, my average MPG is like 21-ish, like mixed driving. But I've had this thing where I was just chilling on the highway at 32 MPG, which is amazing because it's only rated at like 27 from the factory. So that would be the first thing I have to say, is the gas mileage. Obviously, you're going to want a car that's decent on gas if you're daily driving it. But the next thing I want to go over is if you live in a place where you're going to get snow. Now, I do. I'm in New Jersey. We do get snow. I mean, granted, we didn't get no snow last year, but we do normally get snow. The roads are normally pretty shitty. And the all-wheel drive system in this car, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but this Subaru that I'm sitting in will make it through more snow than my Jeep. Now, with reason. The Jeep is a little bit sloppy in the snow. Like, I do have locked diffs in the Jeep, so it is a pretty even comparison, because I'm pretty sure the Subaru does have like limited slip diffs. But this car will just pull right out of the snow. Like, it'll just laugh at the snow. It honestly blew my mind when I first saw it do it, but it does do it, and it's crazy. It really is. So with that being said, if you do live in a place that gets terrible weather, I would highly recommend a Subaru as a daily driver. Especially if you know how to work on cars. Now, these particular cars require a little bit more maintenance than like a normal car. Like, I know the service records, or the service table, I guess you could say, for my particular Subaru is every 15,000 miles, they want you to service the trans, they want you to service the diffs. Obviously, you're doing your oil changes every 3,000 or 5,000, depending what oil you're using. Spark plugs are called for every 15,000. I changed the PCV the same time as the spark plugs. It's relatively cheap to do if you're going to do it yourself. If you're going to pay a shop to do it, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's not going to be crazy. Once I get somewhere where I could park, I'll show you guys the car on the outside and everything. This car is modified, if you can't tell from the exhaust, but I didn't modify it to a point where it wouldn't be practical. I kept it, tastefully modified, but nothing crazy. No like serious performance like parts or anything around this car. Obviously I did the exhaust because that's another thing. Subarus, I'm sorry, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this too. I have a V8 Mustang and I have a Jeep, but I must say that this car is one of my favorite sounding cars that I own, that I've ever owned. And that is putting it up against plenty of Mustangs that I've owned, which are V8s. And I know you V8 guys, I'm a V8 guy at heart. But nothing compares to the Subaru Rumble. It just sounds so freaking good. So once I get somewhere where I can stop, I'll get you guys an exhaust clip, and we'll look at the car from the outside. We'll go over the common issues you're probably going to have with these things, at least the NA cars. But yeah, I'll pick you guys up in just a few minutes. All right, guys, so here's the Subaru. Like I said, this is 2009 Subaru Impreza. Mostly just cosmetic stuff are done in this vehicle, with the exception of Raceland coilovers, Anakai wheels, and Nitto 555 G2 tires. Again, I've upgraded brakes too, but they're just drilled and slotted. They're the factory brakes, but drilled and slotted with a more aggressive pad. Other than that, car's mostly stock. Like I said, just cosmetics, you know, tinted windows, side splitters, front lip, you know, cosmetic stuff. Now, this car was a base model, which I highly recommend if you're going to be daily driving one of these things. I highly recommend getting some options, unless you're like me and you don't mind hunting parts down in the junkyard. I put the STI wheel on, STI door panels, heated seats, heated mirrors, auto dimming rear view mirror. It's got pretty much every option they came with, minus the sunroof. But yeah, I mean, like I said, this car's been great to me. Some of the common issues that these things have are obviously, especially the NA cars, is head gaskets. Now, it's normally the driver's side that does it, but you'll see oil leaking occasionally from the head gasket. This particular one has a newer engine in it. The car was originally bought with a blown up motor, not by me, by the previous owner, and he put a lower mile engine in it. So mine, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it's starting to seep a little bit of oil out of the head. So I do have to assess that, but I do know a permanent solution to that, which I'll go over with you guys. If you are in the market for one of these, it'll take care of that problem completely. You'll never have the issue again. You just do it once and do it right and be done with it and don't have to worry about it again. So besides the head gasket thing being an issue, I really haven't had many issues. Now, any all-wheel drive car, you're going to want to make sure you're on top of your tire rotations. It's just common sense, guys. It's an all-wheel drive car. Rotate your tires when you do your oil change or every other oil change or whatever the case may be. Make sure you rotate your tires. You won't have no issues with tires or anything like that. But yeah, so let's go over how to permanently get rid of that head problem. Other than that, I haven't had no issues with the car. So yeah, that's all I can really say. Another thing too, guys, is rear, well, I guess wheel bearings in general on these cars, but especially the rear ones. The rear ones, they are a pain in the ass to change. I actually have to do the driver's side on this, but I'm going to do both. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, if you're doing the work yourself, it's really not that difficult. It's really not that bad, but they are just a pain in the ass to get out of the knuckle, which kind of sucks. It is raining today, so that's why I'm like, you know, getting wet out here, but figured I'd do a video really quick for you guys. So yeah, so the head problem, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do some ARP head studs and some WRX like turbo head gaskets, because they're multi-layer. The whole reason the head gaskets fail in these cars, guys, is not because it's like a shit design or like anything like that. It's a boxer engine. Porsche uses the same shit and they don't have this problem. The reason these NA cars have this problem is because they use a composite gasket. It's graphite coated. So what happens is, from the motor being sideways, because your pistons are firing sideways, right? So your heads are on the side of the engine. The coolant sits there when the engine's off, and it disintegrates that coating on the head gasket. So permanent solution, MLS gaskets, multi-layer steel head gaskets, if you guys don't know what that means. That's a permanent solution, and I'm going to go above and beyond and do some ARP head studs, just because I'm not a big fan of stretch head bolts, and I just feel like it'll help it seal up a little bit better. And then when I have the engine apart, I'm going to probably copper coat the gaskets and everything. I'll probably re-gasket this whole engine. Honestly, it's going to be out of the car. I might as well do it. You know, it's just kind of one of those things while you're in there. So that's what I'm going to do. You guys will see that on the channel probably pretty soon. Maybe next year. Maybe 2025. We'll see what happens. If it gets worse, obviously I'm gonna have to do it sooner than later, but right now it's not to a point where it's really, really bad, so I'm just gonna rock it for a while. I bought this car with 116,000 miles on it. Like I said, the engine was replaced. It's a lower mileage engine, but I currently have 146,000 on it, so I put about 30,000 miles on this car. And besides me doing 2 front wheel bearings, I did the 2 front wheel bearings, I got to do the 2 back wheel bearings, and then mainly all I really did was maintenance. I haven't really had any issues whatsoever, knock on wood, but I haven't had any major problems with this car. And honestly, every other car that I've daily driven, I've had a lot of issues with. So like I said, I'm not exactly easy on any of my cars either. So before I show you guys some exhaust clips and why I believe this is one of the best sounding vehicles I own, I just want to go over one quick thing with you guys. You could find a video of this on my channel. This car does have the 4EAT transmission in it. Now, if you guys have never driven a Subaru with that transmission, these transmissions are they're very reliable transmissions, but they're very, very laggy. So like you'll floor it and it'll be like, let me wait to downshift. Like 5 seconds will go by and then it'll decide it wants to downshift. So we got rid of all of that issue by installing these guys right here. So this transmission does have sport mode. If you do have a 4EAT with sport shift or sport mode or whatever the hell they call this shit, you can do this mod. You do have to get these parts from Japan, but they are OEM parts. Those are paddle shifters. All you do is click that shifter into sport mode and you can manually shift the car wherever you want. You can downshift, upshift, whatever you want to do. You can do it in drive, but it'll time out and it'll go back to drive. So like if you're coming really, really fast on something and you got to stop really quick, you can downshift, you know, to prevent an accident or whatever the case may be. So just keep that in mind. That makes the car a lot more fun to drive. Now, obviously, if you have a manual one, which I wish I had a manual one, but if you have a manual one, obviously you're going to have a lot more fun driving your car. But this is just how I rid the problem of me being bored in this vehicle. I'm back in the car. I got tired of getting wet outside, so I'm back inside. So another thing too is don't expect to go fast. Even in the turbo models, these cars are just not that fast. You can make anything fast. So I'm not going to say they can't be fast, but if you're going to keep like a stock bottom end engine, like a stock rotating assembly and all that stuff, these cars are never going to be fast. I'm sorry, STI guys and whatever WRX guys or whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. These cars are meant to handle. That's where these cars shine. I don't care what you got. Like, if you have a fully built motor, okay, it's going to be fast. You could probably make 1,000 wheel or more. Like, the engine's capable. You just got to build it. But most people are not going to want to build their engines. So these cars honestly shine very, very well with suspension mods, a nice tire, some nice brakes. They handle absolutely amazing. Like, even with the car being slow, I'll take this thing up in the mountains and I'll have a blast with it. And also not get myself in trouble at the same time because it's slow. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind too. Don't waste your money, especially on NA cars. Don't waste your money with like engine modifications. I literally have the full exhaust. I only did the exhaust because I wanted the exhaust tone, and I did a drop-in K&N filter. That's all that's done to this car. They don't really pick up anything from performance modifications to the engine. At least the NA cars. Obviously, the turbo cars, you can modify them. But just keep in mind, the stock bottom ends, they don't like to hold up that well when you really start pushing a lot of boost through them. So just keep that in mind. These cars are good for handling. If you want a car that's fast in a straight line, I highly recommend getting something that's fast in a straight line. Even something that's fast in a straight line from the factory, you know. Like, I've beaten so many WRXs, STIs in my 98 Mustang Cobra. Like, I fucking destroy them. I walk them, okay? Now, I'm not putting any, like, heavily modified ones out there, but, like, lightly modified ones, not an issue whatsoever. So just keep that in mind. You are going to want handling mods. If you're going to modify the car, handling mods and cosmetic mods are going to be your best friend with these cars. These cars look absolutely killer, and they handle absolutely amazing. So just keep that in mind. Save your money on performance mods. Don't do it. Don't do it. Especially you 17 and 18-year-olds out there. Don't do performance mods on your NA Subaru, okay? Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, let's continue with the video. So as you guys could hear, it sounds really, really good, especially for a 4-cylinder. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, this is one of the best sounding vehicles I own. So to me, it sounds really, really good. But you guys might have your own opinions. You guys also might have your own opinions if it is a daily driver that you guys like or not. But there it is. That's just what I have to say about why I believe you should buy a Subaru as a daily driver. But let me know your guys' thoughts, comments down below and everything. You know, curious to see what you guys have to say. I know there's gonna be a lot of argument, like Hondas are good daily drivers, which they are. Toyotas are good daily drivers, which they are. Anything can be a good daily driver. It's kind of just my opinion, you know what I mean? So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We're almost at 1K subscribers, which is absolutely fantastic. You guys are killing it. And I just want to say thank you to every single one of you that watch the videos, every single one of you that drop likes, every single one of you that drop comments. I answer every one of you. You guys know that. At least I try to, which I normally do. So definitely drop a like up on this video, drop a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys in next week's video, Friday, 12 p.m. Peace out.